Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. For almost a century, Farm Bureau has been a friend of the farm for all Virginians. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce the wonderful local products we enjoy. Brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Here's what's coming up on this week's program.
Agriculture offers many Virginia state prisoners an outlet and a possible career path. Chef Tammy shows us how to welcome in spring with a Virginia mushroom salad. And it doesn't get any fresher than right off the farm. We visit some growers who sell direct to the public.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Welcome back to Real Virginia, everyone. We're coming to you this week from Pole Green Produce in Hanover County. Later in our program, we'll meet several farmers who are selling their products farm to fork. But first, like many states, Virginia offers its inmates the opportunity to learn new skills in the agricultural field.
Kayla Ray has come a long way since entering the State Farm Agribusiness Program at the Virginia Correctional Center for Women in Goochland. She's down to her last 3 years of a sentence and has managed to learn valuable new skills, including the ability to change the tire off an 18-wheeler.
It appealed to me to be able to do my own vehicles, that way I'm not really stranded. And then I didn't realize there was so much involved with, when they said garage, I thought it was just vehicles. I didn't realize we was doing all the tractors, like every small engines, down to the weed eaters. We do everything. I didn't realize we'd done all that, but I've learned so much.
Ray says she had no prior experience with anything mechanical before joining the agribusiness program, but she's found a home in the garage and is already looking forward to putting her skills to use once she's released. The State Farm Correctional Complex has been featured in movies and TV shows as diverse as The Walking Dead to Harriet Tubman. It opened in 1931, and at 93 years old, it's capable of holding 572 offenders.
Right now we're milking about 170 cows twice a day, averaging around 80 pounds of milk per cow. We have about 6 inmates that work over here. One does the calf barn, one does the big barn with the cows, 2 milk, and 1 feeds.
Scheinebeck is a 20-year veteran of the agribusiness program and has seen many success stories.
Seen lots of inmates go work at local dairy farms when they left here. Some of them have learned how to operate heavy equipment and drive dump trucks. There was a lady not long ago that got released, went home to Virginia Beach, and got a job driving a dump truck. So it's definitely been beneficial for the inmates.
Besides learning practical skills, these inmates can earn professional certifications, and the work is a welcome break from prison life.
It's very, very therapeutic. I love watching them calve, raising their calves, raising the steers for slaughter. It's a lot of benefits in beef cattle. You learn pesticide, herbicide spraying, you get certified.
Jones has been working with Angus beef cattle since 2015. She's scheduled to be released next year and wants to work for the Department of Corrections as a supervisor in beef cattle. Ashley Wyman asked to work in crops, and bush hogging is only one of the ag skills she's picked up since joining the agribusiness program last fall. She says the chance to be outdoors and family memories are what sparked her interest.
My father grew up on a farm a little bit, so I've seen a little bit, but I've never really experienced it growing up. But I love plants. I love plants. I love flowers, having a garden. So I thought this would be a great chance to see it on a larger scale.
Eugene Mills served in the agribusiness program in Jarrett, Virginia, and earned a commercial driver's license and put that to use once he was on the outside.
These programs mean a lot, to people who want to make their life better. There are several programs within the DOC where they can do that. And I just say, hey, everybody out there, if you happen to be an inmate and locked up and hearing this, take a shot. It's worth it.
The agribusiness program has helped inspire and change lives. It's shown these and other inmates skills they never knew they had and given them hope for what life will look like once they regain their freedom. In Goochland, Virginia, I'm Burke Moeller reporting.
Prisoners have been a source of farm labor since the Civil War period. In the past, many prisoners raised their own food or were a source of labor for both the state system and outside farmers. Vocational training for inmates became a priority in the federal prison system in the 1930s. Today, some prisoners continue to raise their own food or learn practical skills in agriculture and other technical fields. The goal is not only to give inmates a purpose during their incarceration, but also equip them with knowledge and abilities needed to become productive members of society upon release.
Hi, today we're going to be talking about how to start seedless watermelons from the ground up. Please stay tuned.
Farming is a rewarding way of life, but it can also be full of challenges. If you or someone you know is struggling, call or text the AgriStress helpline at 833-897-2473. It offers 24/7 access to professionals who can support someone in need and help find mental health services in your community. Please make the call, because healthy farms depend on healthy farm families. That's 833-897-2474.
Seedless watermelons are a special summertime treat. Chris Mullins with Virginia Cooperative Extension shows us how to grow a fruit without seeds from the ground up.
Well, hello and welcome. Today we're at the Fauquier Education Farm, and we're going to be talking about starting seedless watermelons. We're here with the Executive Director, Mr. Jim Hankins. Jim, I love watermelons. Seeded, seedless, I like them all. But tell me about these seedless watermelons a little bit, so people might not be aware of them. Tell me about what's going on with them.
Well, a whole lot of people have gotten really spoiled. They only want seedless watermelons. Okay. But then how on earth do you start a plant that doesn't have seeds? Yeah. Seedless watermelons actually do have seeds. They call them pips. When you cut it, you can see where the seeds would be, the little white ones. But it takes special care from the seed companies to cut those out, and it's just bred so that it doesn't make that hard shell. The seed stays soft. The problem is, then in order to get those pips to sprout, it's an expensive process. They cost a lot more, but you have to maintain 85 degrees of soil temperature and above 90% humidity in order to get these things started.
So to germinate, that's a little different than a typical watermelon,
right?
Right?
Typical watermelon is really, really easy. You just have to wait till, it's best to wait till around Memorial Day till the soil temperature is warm, but you'll never get 85 degree soil temperature out in your garden, and you're never going to get 90% humidity. It feels, but it's really, really easy. Okay. What I've got set up here is a heat mat underneath these trays, and we'll move these in just a second. There's a mat that keeps the soil temperature right. I've got a thermostat over here. There's even a little probe that goes up into the soil. The plastic domes keep the moisture in, and it works. I can take this off, and they've just started sprouting up today. But then once they have sprouted, I'm going to leave them covered for a couple more days. There are a few more stragglers. Once they have sprouted, I don't need that high temperature anymore. I don't even need the high humidity. I can put them out into the garden. Okay. But then seedless have one more trick that they really require, which is they need a pollinator. They need a seeded variety of watermelon planted right next to them. Okay. I just use Crimson Sweet, which is one of our favorite seeded watermelons. There are specific pollinators that you can get that produce very small melons that are really, really seeded and nobody eats them. They're great livestock feed.
So when you put these out, if you've got 10 or 12 of these plants, you want a few of the seeded plants too.
Yeah, you want a pollinator for about every 4 plants. Okay. You know, now as I said, these seedless watermelons are really expensive. I checked on one of my favorite seed catalogs. 10 seeds cost $10.75. For $10, I can get 500 of my Crimson Sweet, which is a seeded variety. But once you've got the seedlings, you cannot raise a seedless by itself. It's got to have a pollinator. It's going to be a typical watermelon plant, so it's going to sprawl out in 5 feet in any direction. You need full sun, well-drained soil. Don't think that watermelons need a lot of water. They're kind of desert adapted. They came from the Sahara Desert. So, you know, but it's super easy if you can get them to germinate.
That's the key. And it looks like with your heat mat and these domes that keep the humidity in, obviously you can do it.
Yep. You know, this heat mat, I'll roll it back. I've got a little probe that goes up in there. It's attached to a thermostat. And it's just a mat that has heating elements inside it that maintain that temperature. It's really, really simple. It's really safe. You can see I run the hose over it, you know.
Well, if you're somebody that germinates a lot of your seedlings, I see this would be a good investment, whether you're doing seedless watermelons or tomatoes or peppers. Absolutely.
You know, if you don't have a greenhouse or wherever you're starting your seeds, you know, soil temperature is an essential part of any seed germinating. And, you know, you just have to have it right. And seedless watermelons require a much higher temperature than anything else.
Makes sense, makes sense.
But once you've got that, you've got, you know, these are 2 of my favorite, the Orange Crisp and Yellow Butterball, or Yellow Buttercup. They're really, really sweet, yellow-fleshed watermelons, no seeds, and really fun.
There's so many good cultivars out there now.
Yes.
Wow, that's great. Well, this makes a lot of sense. I understand now. I see that I don't want this to be too difficult, and it's not, because people can do seedless watermelons, it looks like, because you're obviously doing it.
Oh, this setup works really well, and as soon as these really fully germinate, I'm going to be putting another 100 in here, or another 200 in here, and just keep on going for the next several weeks.
Well, great. Thank you, Jim, for letting us come out and talk about starting seedless watermelons.
Always a pleasure.
Well, for more information about starting seedless watermelons or growing seedless watermelons, contact your local county extension office and talk to a master gardener. For From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins. We'll see you next time.
From the Ground Up is presented with the generous advice and assistance of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Visit their website at ext.vt.edu.
Coming up, Chef Tammy plays with Virginia mushrooms in the heart of the home. Plus, we learn more about farm-to-fork operations in the Old Dominion. Stay with us.
Every spring and fall, Virginia farmers and other motorists nearly collide on rural roads. Sometimes these collisions can be dangerous or even fatal when a car traveling 55 miles an hour suddenly meets much slower moving farm equipment. The odds of a collision shoot up. Farm equipment operators are required to display a slow moving vehicle emblem when they're on a public road. When you see that, slow down. Give them plenty of space to do their job. This message brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation Safety Advisory Committee.
Fresh from the field produce is showing up on Virginia's store shelves. Chef Tammy Brawley brings us a recipe for a spring salad featuring mushrooms from the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen, and I'm excited today to show you a refreshing salad. It's great in the summertime. We've got some beautiful mushrooms being grown here in Virginia, and this is a raw mushroom salad. Very, very refreshing. I've already started my pretty platter here. I'm going to tell you a couple different things that we're going to do. We have got some baby button mushrooms, and then we've got some shiitakes. any mushroom of choice. I will say that I think the portobellas are a little bit thicker in nature and flavor and a mouthfeel, so maybe not the portobellas, but your oyster mushrooms, your enoki mushrooms, all of those are really good to use in this. What I've started is a beautiful platter here. I'm going to finish it up for you. We've got a layer of the shiitakes and a layer of the buttons. But let's first talk about cleaning the mushrooms. Whenever you're going to do anything with a mushroom, depending on if you're going to try to saute it or roast it, you really don't want to run them under water. They are notoriously high in a water content anyway. So to clean a mushroom, particularly for a raw mushroom salad, get yourself a damp paper towel, which is what I've done here, and you're just going to wipe the dirt off, all right? Not introducing any more water. It's not going to affect my salad dressing that we're going to use for this. And for this particular recipe, I'm not going to use the mushroom stems. So we're going to pop that right off. You might want to come back and clean it a little bit. That's just more for presentation purposes. This is not a necessary step for the salad itself, but it does look prettier. So we'll get rid of kind of the guts there. I'm not taking the gills out. They're staying the same. And then we're just going to take a knife and we're going to thinly slice the mushrooms. Your recipe that you're going to see online does tell you to toss them in a large bowl with the parsley. I personally prefer this because of the presentation purposes. So we're just going to come back to our platter here and put a couple of shiitakes and a couple more buttons. You want to go right into the middle as well. Cover your pretty platter that you've got there. Maybe cut a couple more. I love shiitakes. They're actually one of my favorite mushrooms. And mushrooms are extremely healthy for you. If you like them, they're extremely healthy. So now we've got a beautiful platter there. What I've done here is I've started some lemon zest. You want to take a microplane grater. These are great to use. I do find that people use them wrong, so I'd like to show you the right way. This has a track on the top, on the front there. A lot of people turn it over and they're doing this and they're doing this, and that is actually incorrect. You want to turn it over the opposite way, and you want to turn your fruit in your hand while you're zesting. And what you see here is the track is collecting the zest. So, and then the benefit to that also is that I can see how far to go down into the lemon. If I were to go much further into that white part, it's called pith, P-I-T-H. It is bitter, and it will introduce a bad flavor to whatever you're using. So you want to douse your zest into a bowl like this, and now we're going to juice the lemon. I'm going to leave the zest for garnish, and you'll see that in just a moment. I love to cut off the ends of the lemon before I juice it. And then one thing that's really important as well for a lemon is you want to use a strainer, okay, because it does have a lot of seeds in it. So I put a strainer over my bowl, cut my lemon in half. I'm going to pop the lemon into my hand juicer here, squeeze it over top of the strainer. It'll catch any seeds, any possible seeds that might come out. Some people juice them over their hands and they catch the seeds that way, and that's fine too. Whatever works for you. This is my preference. So we're through with the juicing of the lemon. We've strained it. There are no seeds in that. Really happy about that. And now I'm going to come back and I'm going to add some parsley to that. I'm going to add a little salt and pepper. And then I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons. I've cut the recipe in half, but I think the recipe calls for 4 or 1/4 cup. We're going to pop the olive oil in that. Very basic and fresh dressing. This is delicious on salads itself. It doesn't have to be just the mushroom salad. I'm going to whisk that up, and we're just kind of blending it together, kind of getting 2 things to get married that don't want to get married, an acid and an oil. It's picking up a nice little froth there. I love that. It's beautiful. I'm going to reach across and grab a spoon here, and then we're going to drizzle this dressing. You could pour it if you wanted to, but you might overdo it. Don't want to do that. We're going to drizzle the dressing over top of those beautiful mushrooms. You can see it's starting to pick up a gorgeous color. And with that lemon, this is just such a bright salad. I love doing this. And how much? Well, it depends on you. You know, you might have a taste for a little bit more, a little bit less even. Knowing how much I like lemon, we tend to use all of it. And as you can see, it's all of it done there. And then last, we are going to top it with some shaved Parmesan cheese and some of that zest of the lemon. The Parmesan cheese, you can use shredded cheese if you'd like. I like to use the shaved. I think it gives it a little bit more depth for your presentation purposes. And then last, we're going to hit it with some of this lemon zest. and pick up a little bit more of the yellow color. Absolutely a beautiful presentation there. Nice fresh salad on these hot summer days. And there you have it. I'm Tammy Brawley with your Green Kitchen. That was a raw mushroom salad. Join us next time on Heart of the Home.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com/recipes, as well as on Chef Tammy Brawley's website at greenkitchenrichmond.com.
Mushrooms are produced both in wooded areas on oak logs and indoors in controlled environments. Most growers have small operations that sell to local chefs and customers. Mushroom production has been expanding in Virginia. In 2022, there were 48 mushroom operations in the Old Dominion, 7 more than in 2017. Production footage almost doubled over those 5 years to just under 80,000 square feet. The value of Virginia mushroom sales also doubled in that period, bringing growers more than $1.8 million in 2022.
The farm to fork movement is becoming more popular every year. Elijah Griles visits with some farmers who have made a direct connection with their buyers.
In 2022, over 3,000 Virginia farmers sold their meat, fruits, vegetables, and other products directly to the public, according to the Census of Agriculture. That's a growing marketing trend as smaller producers seek to cash in on the consumer curiosity about where their food comes from. We visited 2 Virginia farm-to-fork operations to see how farm-to-fork works.
As cattle producers, we try to raise a quality product for the consumer, and just hearing the feedback and the happiness and the fact that, I've got some families that they've got a 4-year-old child. Before they had our beef, they might eat half a hamburger. Now they're having to fend off their child to eat because they're trying to eat their burger. And
serving delicious local beef begins on the farm, and Jared Berner takes diligent care of his cattle from start to finish.
It's just great that we can put beef on so many people's plate, and just seeing the excitement. That's the reward for us, because we put a lot of work into the cattle, making sure that they're well cared for, making sure that the genetics is over time. But the happiness in people's eyes when they actually taste our product is the ultimate reward for us.
Just a few miles up the road from Berner's Beef in Luray, Virginia, Chef Ryan Zale and Allie Robinson help their customers make the local meat connection.
The most important part is knowing where the food comes from. We know how it's grown, we know how the animals have raised, and most of it's coming from right down the street. Jared was the first person I called. We've heard wonderful things. I have a lot of friends that are kind of in the meat world, if you will. And, I've heard a lot of great things about him, and coming here was like, that was our first call. It's like, man, we gotta get a hold of him.
Beef isn't the only local protein putting a smile on foodies' faces. In Craig County, Smoke and Chimney's Trout Hatchery is leading the culinary resurgence of the brook trout, Virginia's state freshwater fish.
We have a 3,000 gallon a minute spring that's feeding all of our raceways and our ponds. So we're basically raising the closest thing you could get to a wild trout. They're all raised outside in our earthen ponds. They're beautiful fish. We're in about 100 restaurants and retail stores on the East Coast.
Restarting a 1930s trout hatchery came with many challenges for Ty Walker and his family.
We showed up and water wasn't even on. A friend was like, this is a trout hatchery, and I get here and I'm like, man, there's no water. Like, I don't really see how this is a trout hatchery. Long story short, we got the water on. It was just one of those, just like God moments. You just feel like, dude, this is like where I'm supposed to be, and this is like what I'm supposed to be doing, and you got to just go for it. And we did. And, we've had a lot of blood, sweat, and tears tied up in it.
Reaching customers with their unique product required trial and error until they found the right market.
If you make a sale to a chef or a restaurant and they like your product and they put it on the menu, then they're ordering every week. You're not having to try and sell them the same spiel every week, So, and plus for us, we needed some predictability just in our market and our production, because we're planning a year out for what demand is going to be.
Just over Catawba Mountain in the city of Roanoke, Virginia, Chef Jeremy Smelzer enjoys sharing Smoke and Chimney's trout with his urban clientele.
When I met Ty, he was selling some trout out at a farmer's market, and went up to him, struck up a conversation. I thought he was a really cool guy. I bought a couple fish, and then when I took over here at Lucky, one of the first things I had to do was call up Ty and Shannon and try to get some of their fish on the menu, because we had to have it. I hadn't tasted fish quite that clean before when I tasted it, and I knew right then that we were going to have a relationship and I was going to sell their fish at some point.
The Walker's trout has been quite a catch with Lucky's fine dining patrons.
Customers love it. Every different setup we do, they buy it. We typically do it whole. We've done lots of fillets as well, though. And no matter how the fish is cooked or cut, they seem to enjoy it.
While getting fresh trout to Lucky was one part of their marketing equation, Walker is focused on starting the next phase of their business.
Around Christmas, we launched our direct-to-consumer, trout to your door program, where people order trout boxes. They get like a couple fresh trout, a couple smoked trout, a couple of our smoked trout cakes. We box them up, ice packs, styrofoam cooler, and bang, the next day it's like at your door.
Consumers can visit virginiagrown.com or their local farmers market to find local meats and fish in small towns or big cities across the Commonwealth. Reporting from Page County, Virginia, I'm Elijah Griles.
We're so glad you could join us to celebrate all the bounty Virginia has to offer. From the kitchen to your home and garden to our beautiful wide open spaces, we're proud to say that this is real Virginia. For everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a great week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too
Sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that we can get help. Let's see how far we can go. Love, your mind.